Hey, it's me. So, day 2, it's July 16th, 2019. Most of you already know that. You can read a calendar and a clock. So, today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the road trip because that's something that was the most recent and something that was a lot of fun and crazy. So, the road trip was, we started driving on June 30th. 2019, and we got here on July 3rd, 2019. Sorry, a little bit mixed up on my days. So we drove for 4 days, Sunday through Wednesday, and our first day was 9.5 hours is what we were supposed to drive. That's like the total drive time without like any of the other fun stuff. So our first day was to Topeka, Kansas. Topeka, Kansas is the most boring state in the United States, but I'll get there. So we started driving at around 9:30 in the morning. We were supposed to start at 9, but we knew that we wouldn't actually get to leave at 9 because we were getting sent off by our family and friends, which was very sweet of them. And we all kind of came together and had some coffee and donuts and did not cry until the last possible minute, which was really good because we were all very emotional that morning because we had moved back to Tosa 2 weeks earlier. So we had moved to Tosa, packed up all of our things again 2 weeks later and moved out here. So it's kind of crazy. This year in general has been kind of crazy because if you'll do some simple math here, you'll realize that this year, in the beginning of the year, I moved to Madison, and then I moved from Madison back to Milwaukee this, like, beginning of June, and then we moved here. So I also managed to finish my student teaching. I managed to graduate from college. We managed to get married. I had my bachelorette party, and then we moved here. So it's been, like, crazy. But anyway, that's not about this. This isn't about the trip. So we started driving and it was all fun and games for the first day because we were so excited, and it was my first road trip ever. So like I hadn't seen that side of the United States. Obviously I've driven through Illinois before, that's boring, but we hit Iowa and Missouri too. So it was Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, and then Missouri, and then Kansas. So it was kind of a crazy day of 5 states, which was ridiculous. And I would highly not recommend doing that in one day because it was just kind of like, it was exciting at first, like I said, and then it kind of got boring like pretty quick after that because it was just planes and planes and planes. But anyway, so first day what we did was we did a lot of sightseeing, and by that I mean sightseeing from the U-Haul. We did not get out of the U-Haul except for gas stops and gas stops and potty breaks, which is it. So we were pretty excited through the first couple of states because it was all new for me and kind of new for Aiden too. But driving that big ass U-Haul was a crazy time. So I definitely would not recommend that if you... Anyway, sorry, getting ahead of myself again. So first day was to Topeka, second day was to New Mexico. New Mexico is absolutely gorgeous. However, the states we hit in between that were not. So we did Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and then into New Mexico. And let me just say on the record that Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas are all the exact same, and they all are awful. Like, I mean, I cannot explain to you how boring the drive was because we were just out of our minds bored. So we listened to a lot of music, and we listened to a book on tape too. We actually didn't listen to too many podcasts, which is kind of crazy, but we just ended up being so entertained with the drive and with our book and listening to music that we didn't need that much, which was really cool. So then day 3 was New Mexico and New Mexico and Arizona into California. We hit the edge of California, and at this point it was starting to get hot. Like, we left Wisconsin and it started getting a little bit warmer. It was like I don't know, like 80, 90, no, not 90, it was more like 70s, 80s. And then we hit New Mexico, and we stopped in New Mexico, or it might have been Arizona, I'm not actually sure, but we stopped at this beautiful state park. It was these trees, and it was just gorgeous. Sorry about this. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, so we stopped at this state park, and it was really gorgeous, and we were like, wow, it's kind of hot out here. And then we got to Needles, which is where we stayed, and night 3, the night before we actually got here, and it was 108 degrees, and we got there at 8 p.m. So we were like, oh my god, this is so hot, what are we gonna do? Like, it cannot be this hot when we get there, we're gonna die. Like, moving in all of our stuff, like, how are we gonna do this at 108 degrees? But thankfully when we got here it was a lot chillier than that. It's actually kind of freezing here, but I'll go into that later. So yeah, and like what we did a lot was we just survived. Like, we just got to get through the drive, like, because most days, like I said, our first day was 9.5 hours. Our second day was 10 hours. It was our longest day. And then we had 8-ish hours on the third day, and the fourth day was 6 hours. So like, we really did that on purpose. We front loaded because we knew it was gonna be like incredibly awful to have to do like a long time at the end of the trip, because we were so tired. Because like, even though you're sitting in a car and you're not doing anything all day, there's nothing more boring than like sitting there, and you can't get up and you can't walk around. Like, yeah, we stopped for the bathroom a few times, but like, you have to get there. So like, we had our hotels reserved, we had everything that we needed to do, so we had to get to where we were going. And you just kind of have to go, like, you have to do it. So we were so tired, and like, by the day we actually got here, we were like, when we pulled up, we had no idea what we were coming to, because we did not look at, we looked at online at the place we were staying, but we'd never seen it in person. So we came here and we were like unsure what our apartment was gonna look like, and we were unsure like what the people were gonna be like around here. So it was very nerve-wracking. And when we finally walked in and saw the apartment, I literally cried tears of joy, because it was like, thank God. We don't have to worry about it. Like, we're in a safe apartment in a safe area, and like, the apartment is super nice. So yeah, so our first hotel was a Quality Inn. We stayed at, oh no, it was the Ramada. And then the second night was the Quality Inn, and the third night was Comfort Inn. And our favorite one was the first one, which was the Ramada, because it was so beautiful, and it was attached to a convention center, so it was just gorgeous. But we picked them all because they had free breakfast, which is an incredibly important thing to do if you're traveling across the country, because we had to spend a lot of money on food during this trip, because it's like, you have to eat meals, hello, duh, which is something that you don't necessarily think about, but that shit costs a lot of money. So we picked places that had breakfast. Thanks for that tip, Amy and Avery, because we would have been spending so much more money. We brought a lot of snacks with us, and we brought like sandwich making things, but you get so tired of sandwiches and the same snacks. So yeah, I think that covers most of it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I can talk more about that. But yeah, so that's the road trip. I would highly recommend driving through New Mexico to Arizona and California. I also really enjoyed parts of Missouri, but it was just Kansas and Oklahoma and Texas. If you can avoid them, you should. Yeah, thanks. I'll see you maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. I don't know. This is going to kind of be on the fly, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and thanks again.